Halo Infinite PC Performance Review. Halo Infinite demands an RTX 3080 or RX 6800 XT to play on ultra settings. Halo Infinite brings back Xbox's most iconic game after 6 years. The Halo franchise began in 2001 as a launch title for the OG Xbox, and ever since, people have gone bonkers playing some of these titles. Halo Infinite had a surprise launch for its free-to-play multiplayer mode on 15th November, alongside the 20th anniversary of Xbox. But the Halo Infinite single-player campaign only releases later this week, Tuesday, 8th December to be specific, and we have had the pleasure of spending some time with it ahead of release. The new Halo game costs 3,499 rupees on Steam and 3,999 rupees on Microsoft Store, Xbox One, and Xbox Series SX. The 343 Industries-led game will also be available to everyone with an Xbox Game Pass subscription on day one. You can already preload the game. In terms of download size, the Halo Infinite single-player campaign will eat up about 50 gigabytes of space on your PC, while the multiplayer mode of Halo Infinite weighs in around 26 gigabytes. Halo Infinite multiplayer supports crossplay, so Xbox and PC gamers can play together. Halo Infinite PC system requirements. Let's begin with what your PC rig needs to play the new Halo title. Halo Infinite gives you 4 different graphics requirements ranging from the bare minimum, which can be achieved by using a GTX 1050 Ti or a Radeon RX 570 with around 4 GB VRAM, to ultra settings, which requires a beasty Nvidia RTX 3080 or AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT with about 10 GB VRAM. As for the CPU, you will require an Intel i5-4440 or an AMD Ryzen 5 1600 to get started at the minimum required level. Halo Infinite minimum PC system requirements for low settings. The minimum specifications required to play Halo Infinite on your PC are OS Windows 10 Rs 5 x64 October 2018 update. CPU AMD Ryzen 5 1600 or Intel i5-4440. RAM 8 GB or more. GPU AMD Radeon RX 570 or Nvidia GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. Storage 50 GB. Video memory 4 GB. DirectX 12. Halo Infinite minimum PC system requirements for medium settings. In order to play Halo Infinite on medium settings, you will require OS Windows 10 19H2 November 2019 update. CPU AMD Ryzen 5 2600 or Intel i5-9500. RAM 8 GB or more. GPU AMD Radeon RX 5500 XT or Nvidia GeForce GTX 1660. Storage 50 GB. Video memory 6 GB. DirectX 12. Halo Infinite recommended PC system requirements for high settings. The recommended specifications to play Halo Infinite are as follows. OS Windows 10 64-bit. CPU AMD Ryzen 7 3700X or Intel i7-9700K. RAM 16 GB. GPU Radeon RX 5700 XT or Nvidia RTX 2070. Storage 50 GB. Video memory 8 GB. DirectX 12. Halo Infinite Ultra Settings PC System Requirements. System requirements to run Halo Infinite on Ultra settings. OS Windows 10 64-bit. CPU AMD Ryzen 9 5900X or Intel i9-11900K. RAM 16GB. GPU Radeon RX 6800 XT or Nvidia RTX 3080. Storage 50GB. Video memory 10GB. DirectX 12. Halo Infinite PC requirements. Halo Infinite Campaign PC Performance Review. For this game, our test rig consisted of a 3.6 GHz AMD Ryzen 5 3600 CPU, Nvidia GeForce GTX 1660 Super GPU with 6 GB VRAM, a Full HD 1080p monitor with 144 Hz refresh rate, 16 GB RAM, and 512 GB NVMe SSD on Windows 10 21H1. We used all the latest drivers for the Nvidia card and for Windows. As mentioned before, Halo Infinite provides you with 4 graphics presets. With the graphics option set to low preset, the game managed to push out a maximum of around 78, 80 FPS while dropping down to 67 frames per second. It managed an average of around 68 frames per second for most of the gameplay. The drops were recorded mostly during big fights and explosions. Moving up the ladder, we switched the graphics option to the medium preset. This setting managed to pump out a maximum of 71 frames per second in Halo Infinite, with dips to 47 frames per second during gunfights and grenade explosions. It managed to maintain its performance with an average of 65 frames per second. The medium preset warmed up our rig for the next graphics option, the high preset. This setting started building up the pressure. Still, we were able to manage an average of 60 frames per second and maxed out at 65 frames per second. However, we did see massive dips to 34, 35 FPS during close combat and heavy explosions in Halo Infinite. This would result in a discernible slowdown during combat, as you would imagine. Unfortunately, I was not able to test the Ultra preset since this was maxing out the VRAM over 7 GB. Should you buy Halo Infinite on PC? As you might have expected, Halo Infinite demands a lot from your hardware in terms of graphical prowess. The game is definitely worth buying, especially for fans. With all the options set to low, you should be able to milk out a decent and sustainable performance on a budget PC gaming rig. I did not face any issues or bugs of any sort during my time with Halo Infinite. The game never crashed on me either. It ran smoothly throughout as I traversed across the battlefield. As for combat, everything seemed to be in line, all the shots registered properly. Halo Infinite is a decent buy if you have the hardware to support it. You can pick it up for 3,499 rupees on Steam or 3,999 rupees on Microsoft Store. Halo Infinite will also launch day 1 on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate that costs 699 rupees per month. Halo Infinite is out 8th December on PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series SX.
The enemy has your flag.
Enemy flag carrier spotted. Air vehicle delivery confirmed. I do believe this is ours. We have eyes on the enemy flag carrier.
Enemy returned their flag. An ally has taken the enemy flag.
We have eyes on the enemy flag carrier.